Since we happen to be right at the gates of Dufferin Haven, why not drop in and meet the boss in person? And here he comes now, riding out to greet us on his chestnut saddle horse, Captain Swagger. This is the boss, sometimes referred to as Mr. James Franceschini, the man that started this whole thing. From the very beginning, the boss planned Dufferin Haven as a horse's seventh heaven, and that's just what it turned out to be, a paradise that only the best of his horses may enter. Set against an unmatched background of color and beauty, nature is worth 1,000 words, and be on our way to look around. Oh, watching these scenes without a top coat makes us feel a trifle cool, so let's be moving on. To date, I guess we've covered Dufferin Haven just about as well as one can in so short a time. We've seen it under a blanket of gaily colored flowers in the spring and under the ermine mantle of snow in winter. We've traveled by horse, carriage, coach, boat, sleigh, and dog team sled. Uh-oh, notice anything missing? That's right, no automobiles. And we can't say that we missed them. After all, maybe the boss was more than far-sighted when he gave up his horseless carriage for a horse. Before we go any further, let's drop in and take a look at the horses' quarters. After all, this picture is about horses, and so far we've only seen the habitation shared by the boss and his friends, which, believe me, are modest compared with the sanctum sanctorum of the horses. Inside, everything has been laid out with meticulous care to meet the most exacting demands of the temperamental lodgers. Here, everything from electric fly traps that dispel the bother of flicking your hair to a private laundry assures the utmost in comfort that any horse could desire. Stalls are ship-shape and Bristol fashion with gleaming varnished woodwork and bright stainless steel trim to match the high gloss of the coats of these proud beauties. Oops, well, what do you know? Another merry-go-round. Hey, grab a ring. I'll bet the kids would go crazy about this layout. A merry-go-round with real live horses. But actually, it's a very practical device that's almost foolproof. And the boss can be sure that it won't skip out for a quick smoke before the horses have received their proper exercise. Not that any of the boys around here would do a thing like that. You see it in the manner they handle their charges as they walk them from the merry-go-round exerciser to the indoor arena and lounge. That's right, we said lounge. Of course, the horses don't get much chance to sit back in an easy chair, but can keep an eye on him through the window. And here, adjacent to the indoor arena, is the tack room, kind of a horse's wardrobe to those not up in their equestrian nomenclature. Saddles, bridles, harness of every description necessary for the correct appointments of the many different types of vehicles. When the boss hitches up the 3 4-in-hands, you'll understand why he needs all of this gear. Adjoining the tack room is the carriage room, where the boss keeps his complete and most interesting collection of carriages and sleighs. Looks like the horses are being paraded in front of the clubhouse, and the show the boss has arranged for us is just about ready to begin. So I guess that we'd better cut our tour of Dufferin Haven short and find a seat with the other guests. Well, here's one right next to the boss, so if you'll pardon us, we'll lean back and enjoy the show along with you. The first entry I'm sure you'll recognize is Captain Swagger. The young lad riding Busboy is Butch Parker. A fine young horseman is going to give his dad plenty of competition one of these days. Busboy has since been sold to a young lady in Alabama, who we hear is doing right well with him. And this is Butch's dad riding Channel Light, who was undefeated at the Royal Winter Fair, winning the three-gated championship with manager Bill McIlvaine up. This is Sedgefield Star, an under-15 two-walk trot mare who won 4 firsts at the Royal Winter Fair, defeating top entries of her class in competition. Watching Grassview sensation El Fariol and Talk of the Town go through their paces makes one scoff at people who wail for the horse and rider of yesteryear. We feel these three are typical examples that prove the riding horse, hack, and pony of today are vastly superior animals to their ancestors of, say, 50 years ago. As for those who love the feel of saddle or rein, the past is past, and any comparison is difficult. We can only look forward to the coming generation as a more knowledgeable race of horsemen than we are today. Now with the boss riding Grassview sensation, it's easy to see why this stallion proved such a success in 5-gated stakes at Southern State shows. Hey, look, fellas, Gene Autry. Wonder what vomit he all chased way up here. Well, slip me a diamond hitch. I'll be doggone, partner. It's Grassview sensation with the boss. Jumping horn toads, he sure fooled me good. All decked out in that cowboy outfit with that 10-gallon hat. Even on El Fariol, the boss still looks like a cowpoke. And I'll bet he'd give the Lone Ranger or Hopalong Cassidy a run for their money if he ever went in for Hollywood horse operas. Well, here's Butch again, and the boss driving the prize-winning show pony Talk of the Town. This cocky little fella brought back 3 blue ribbons from the Royal Winter Fair. And he responds to another little fellow as Butch takes him around by himself. Vision, a 2-year-old colt the boss raised whose show horse ways and strutting, high, well-balanced action is phenomenal for so young a horse. In the Palomino 4 in hand, Vision is used in the lead, while his sister Fire Vision, a 3-year-old, is one of the wheelers. These flashy mares in single harness are double jewel and without regret. And here is Curtain Call, a chestnut hackney who's a beautiful specimen of his breed and a great favorite with the ladies. Contrasting in size, but not in quality or perfection, is Topper in the pony Phaeton. Here, Topper and Marvel, a perky little pair who go well in the sporty miniature Phaeton. And here are Waltz Time and Stagehand, two perfectly matched heavy hackneys that drive as one horse and are equally pleasant to drive in the heavy harness 4. Demonstrating the correct action and pace for a show pony is Alassa Eddie, hitched to a pony Viceroy and driven by the boss, who incidentally is no mean hand with the reins himself, as you can see. the game. With the boss behind him, Waltz Time steps out as a single to have his picture taken. King, who has that uptown trot which great horses must possess, and the personality that attracts the spectators. Guy is the pride and joy of the boss, who expects him to be the next best pony to Highland Cora. Truly a great miniature, Hawthorne Camelot has a sparkling presence, high, well-balanced action, and that rare quality of finesse. Stagehand is having his turn in single harness. He is another member of the Heavy Hackney Four, as well as mate for dinner dance in pair classes. The boss is now driving dinner dance, and only close inspection by the spectators will show the change from stagehand. Now for some tandem driving. With a lasso rein and a lasso eddy, it looks simple, but don't let appearances fool you. Tandem driving is the most difficult art, and even many professionals have trouble with this hitch. Now, here are waltz time and curtain call being given a final workout to bring them into form for the coach and four in hand that is to follow later. Well, here's our Palomino sweetheart, Far Vision, in harness. And here's the game, this time with L Vision. These two Palominos are probably the only pair of their breed broken to drive in tandem. The fact that they're only babies adds to their laurels, and very few colts show so much sense and willingness. Notice how they rarely make a wrong move, and every leg is in the right place at the right time. This time we see a Lassa Wren and a Lassa Eddie in double harness. And here are curtain call and waltz time. And now the boss behind our old friend El Vision, and another member of the Palomino Four, El Mischief. Believe me, these Palominos are so near alike in their color, markings, and size that one has a hard time telling them apart. These four... picture that carries us back 100 years or more, back to a scene that might have been described by Charles Dickens. It's easy to need of a little refreshment. Those were the days when the coach was considered a marvel of swiftness. Why, people said, it takes only a week to go from London to York, a distance of 200 miles. The coach going from Sheffield to London was known as the Flying Machine on steel springs and took only 3 days for the journey. Such speed was considered dangerous, and the travelers were warned to break their journey at various points or suffer the like fate of others who had dyslexia from the rapidity of motions. Perhaps the merry sound of the horn, the ring of horses' hoofs, and the rattle of leather and harness brings to mind a more leisurely picture of a warm spring afternoon on Old Sherbrooke Street in the 1800s. Those were the days when a man or his lady was known by the hitch they drove, and matched pairs of four-in-hands were the fashion of the times. But even at that, we're willing to wager that these perfectly matched specimens of liver chestnut hackneys would have caused quite a stir then as they do today. True, the elegant golden age of the horse has slipped into the past as a nostalgic memory, and the spirit of our age is mechanical. But we're sure that were we to return to this vale of tears 100 years hence, we would still find the dual-purpose hackney marching side by side with history as he has through the past. Today, there are very few hitches of heavy harness horses in existence, and an even rarer sight is to see your palominos in double harness, pulling together with effortless grace and free-striding action. Unfortunately, the four-in-hand, which was once a common sight, an accepted means of transportation, has all but disappeared into limbo with the dodo bird. And to those few who can recall the other days, it seems passing strange that the present generation has little opportunity to sit on the box and feel the thrill of handling the reins in four-in-hand driving. There are, however, groups of coaching patrons throughout the world whose prime aim, like that of the boss, is to keep this almost lost art alive and passed on to coming generations. And now to climax our host show is the never-to-be-forgotten scene of 3 complete hitches of four-in-hands in the ring at one time. Of course, when the boss bought his first horse, he never thought that it would lead to anything like this. But then he's no different than thousands of other men and women throughout the Dominion. Those people responsible for our horse and agricultural shows, good sportsmen all. Their main objective is the encouragement of the breeding and well-being of one of man's best friends, the horse.